Yes, activity state management by Android. How Android handles. So in this module, what we have seen, what are the different life cycle hooks of the Android from on create to on destroy. Then we have seen what activity exactly does, right? What activity exactly does. If you are going to change the state, means if you are going to change the configuration of your phone, either horizontal or what you can say portrait, on that thing we have observed over here is that you would be finding that Android is killing the activity forcefully, right? Android is calling on destroy method forcefully, and Android is again recreating the activity, right? That how to handle, that we have seen in this module. Okay, and in this module, state management by means of what you can say providing the alternative resources, how you are going to do that thing, that we'll see over here, right? How you are going to do that thing, that we'll see over here. Now see, if you go to the resources, you will find something called as HDPI, MDPI, XHDPI, double XHDPI and triple XHDPI, right? Hyphen separated by the resource name. If you can see this mipmap hyphen HDPI, mipmap hyphen MDPI. Now what's that? That we'll see over here. So that there they have explained all these things over here. See here, create new directory in the resource named from resource name hyphen and the config qualifier. So resource name can be Android standard resources and the qualifier can be standard qualifiers that you will find in this table, right? Now if you think that you are creating layout for the tablet and you are creating same layout for the phone, right? Your application should work on the both cases, on the phone as well as on the tablet. How that thing will work, that is nothing but providing the alternative resources, right? That is nothing but what? Providing the alternative resources. So you will create layout file for the tablet, you will create layout file for the phone, right? And that is going to be defined by the qualifier layout hyphen something for the tablet, layout hyphen something for the phone. There is one qualifier which will give you that thing on the terms of width, right? If you want to do that thing, see width over here. If you want to run, or whenever your phone configuration, right, is, or your phone is having smallest width 320 dp, that particular layout would be getting selected. So you would be having one layout folder, right? You would be having one layout folder and you can say layout hyphen SW320, means whenever smallest width would be 320 dp, that layout folder is going to be selected. So for this presentation, what I can do is that let me have one image view over here, right? Let me have one image view over here, and you can say image view, right? We would be having one image view over here, and what I'm going to do is that, see, match parent and the match parent, and the match parent, and here you can have src, we can have src over here, and presently I can have, or let's have some images, right? Let's have some images. So I am going to create like this. So let me open this folder into what you can say file structure, showing the files. So this is a drawable. I am going to create one more folder. Here you can say drawable hyphen portrait. Remember that. So if your underlying configuration of the phone orientation configuration is a portrait, then this folder would be getting selected automatically. Then one more folder I am going to create. You can say drawable hyphen landscape, right? So drawable land and drawable port, drawable land and drawable port. Whenever your phone would be in the landscape mode, this folder is going to be get selected. Whenever your phone into the portrait mode, this folder is going to be selected. And if your phone is not in the portrait and not in the landscape, this drawable would be getting selected. So you created the configuration qualifier in this manner. Means this drawable folder is having some alternative resources, and which are separated by the landscape orientation and the portrait orientation. For the landscape, different images; for the portrait, different images would be getting selected, right? So this is how you will provide. So you can create layout as well, right? You can create layout as well. That I will show you how to create the layout resource from here, right? See, new, you can say Android resource directory, right? And here I can say layout resource. For which configuration it is asking you? For which configuration it is asking you? So smallest screen width, right? Smallest screen width, you can say next, and here you need to specify how much is the screen width. How much is the screen width? So you can get that screen width over here. If you can say 720 dp, that is nothing but the tablet. Smallest width would be 720, 7-inch tablet, say 720 dp, and then you can say OK, right? Now this folder is going to get selected only when your phone's smallest width would be 720 dp. So I have shown you how to create the folder using the files and how to create the folder using the studio, right? But there is one principle behind this. There is one principle. The sequence of this table is very important over here. So from the MCC and the MNC is nothing but the mobile network code and the mobile country code, right? So sequence is very important. The way they have written over here, you are going to use in the same way. Means what I want to say is that something like that. See over here, if I want to create the drawable, right? If I want to create the drawable, then MCC will first come, then your language will come, then your smallest width will come, 320 dp. Means you can create, right? You can create one folder. What I am saying, you can create one resource folder with the multiple configuration qualifiers. If you are creating the resource folder with the multiple configuration qualifiers, sequence is important. You cannot write 320 dp or S320 first and then the language. Why? Because this table says that configuration qualifier for mobile country code will come first, then it will come language, then any other configuration qualifiers, right? But if you think that what if I want to directly use the S20 and I don't want to use the English, fine, you can create the drawable resource in this manner. That's fine, that's working, right? Okay. And if you say that what if I want to skip something, right? So drawable MCC 310, whatever it is, whatever code, or 20, then you can skip the language and you can directly go to this configuration qualifier. This you have skipped the language, but still sequence is there. First MCC, then your language, then your width. So you can find the sequence over here very typically. They have clearly noted that thing in the documentation, right? See, in the case of multiple configuration qualifiers, what I'm saying, in the case of multiple configuration qualifiers, sequence is the important thing that you need to note, right? See, qualifier name rule. Here are some rules about the configuration qualifiers, right? you can specify the multiple qualifiers for a single set of resources separated by the dash. See, drawable hyphen English hyphen RUS and then landscape. Fine. Applies to US English devices in the landscape orientation. Right? US English devices in the landscape orientation. The qualifiers must be in the order listed in the table 2. See, drawable HDPI port, that is the wrong. Then drawable portrait and then HDPI is the correct. Because the portrait comes first in the table, then the HDPI. Right? So HDPI, MDPI, LDPI are the densities that we have seen at the time of, right, pixels and the DPs. What do you mean by exactly densities? Okay. The alternative resource directories cannot be nested like this. So drawable folder can never have another drawable folder, right, like this, cannot be nested. Okay, values are case insensitives. The resource compiler converts directory names to the lowercase before processing to avoid problems on the case insensitive file systems, something like that, right? So there are few rules like this over here, right? There are few rules for this like this that we have discussed. Well, in the next tutorial I am going to implement one project. I'm going to implement one project module on this, how exactly this thing works. So your concepts would be getting clear at that time, right? Okay, so keep watching.